Lesson 1.4 is brought to you by Lego Thor, something or another. So, in this lesson, we're going to just look at estimation and educated guesses. Kind of already did this in the previous lesson in 1.3 when we were estimating the numbers from a bar graph or a pie graph. So this is just going to kind of formalize that talk a little bit more. So here we begin with an isotherm. It's a curved map that connects locations where the temperature is the same. So when you look at these, notice that this line represents negative 10 degrees. Anything below the line up to the next line or down to the next line is values between negative 10 degrees and 0 degrees. So I think as what makes sense, as we move south on this graph, the temperatures are going up, which is the opposite of what your typical XY coordinate plane looks like, where the positive values, as we head up, are headed towards positive infinity, and as we go down, that's headed toward negative infinity. This is, of course, flipped. But then if you think about what this is a map of, it's just the real world. And in fact, if you continued south forever, you'd end back at your starting point, like if you start at the North Pole, because the Earth is roughly spherical in shape. Okay, so let's start with point L, which is Las Vegas, Nevada. Note that is like almost exactly on this line, so we can call that 40 degrees. Then we move to point P, which is here. Note it's between 40 and 50 degrees, and it's closer to 50 degrees than 40 degrees. So I might call that 48 degrees. It's definitely above a 45 degree. Dallas, Texas, I think that's halfway between this 20 degree line and this 30 degree line, so I would call that 25 degrees. S for Springfield, Illinois, that looks like it's a little bit closer to 10 than it is to 0. Again, the way I'm running this estimate is I'm visualizing mentally this vertical line between the two curvy lines and then noting where this is on that line. So that's slightly a past half. I might call that, oops, not 40, I might call that 6 degrees. And then Atlanta, Georgia down here, A, we're much closer to 30 degrees than 40 degrees. I might call that 32 degrees. Miami, Florida, that's slightly past the 50 degrees. I don't know, 51, 52 degrees in there, roughly. And then New York, we're going to say that that's probably about negative 2 degrees. So again, we're using our powers of estimation to kind of guess what this number is by using the proximity, that point's proximity to any one of those various lines. Moving on to page 46. Here we're talking about this idea of a number line. So this is a very kind of basic concept that you get introduced to somewhere in elementary school, probably middle school, where you've got this number line. Now notice this is a horizontal number line, so we probably call this X, and as I showed you before, when we put two number lines together, you get the XY coordinate plane. We're going to look at this more specifically in Unit 2. So in this case, again, our goal is to estimate where are, given this number line with these tick marks, each representing 100 units, where is point A? Well, it's almost negative 300. We could have some disagreement on this. I'm going to say it's like 298. The exact value is, without technology, is like almost impossible to tell here, but this is a really good estimation of that. And then B, that's pretty close to negative 200. I might call this negative 220. One way we could try is we could get like a ruler and measure how many units are in here and then divide those units by 100, and that would give us individual tick marks. But that seems like a lot of unnecessary work. Okay, letter C, that's not quite half. I might call this half, but it's almost there. Let's say that's negative 135. All right, now we're into the positive numbers. So D, again, I would say this is slightly below 50 or halfway, and even my tick mark is a little bit above halfway. I might just call that 35, honestly. It looks like it's the same difference between here and here. E, oh boy, doesn't that look like it's almost exactly on 100, but it's slightly past because it's not right in the center of the circle. So I might call that 101. And then F, Oh boy, my eyes might be deceiving me, but it looks like it's exactly halfway between 200 and 300. Oh boy, I did the explanations verbally. I do not want to go back in and write down those verbal explanations. Okay, so then we get the idea of some symbols that we use in just comparing numbers. So here's two inequality symbols. We've got -2 is less than 3 because -2 is to the left of 3. And here we've got 3 is greater than 2 because 3 is to the right of -2. These symbols, we've got this one, which is the less than symbol. And we've got this one, which is the greater than symbol. And we read these from left to right. That's how we keep track of them. And then, of course, the equal to sign, the approximately sign, which means we've done an estimation. And then we have two more symbols, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So when we put the line under the inequality sign, that then means the number could also be equal to.